So uh, I went to bed. I told my wife at the time, I said, I don't know if I can make it another day. I feel like I'm gonna die. So I went to bed, and while I was sleeping, somebody pulled my toe. When I sat up in my bed, there was a man standing at the foot of my bed. And I looked at him and I recognized who he was. He was my good friend, Bruce. And I jumped out of bed and hugged him, and, it was a really good reunion. Then I realized Bruce is dead. And I could see at the end of the tunnel was a dark, dark tunnel. But way at the other end, there was a speck of light. And I looked at my friend and I looked at the tunnel, and he says, "You want to come check this out with me?" I said, if he came to show me, lead the way. So he walked inside the tunnel and I followed him, and we started walking, and he was my dear friend. He passed away. He had several children that he left behind. I knew his wife very well. And so while we were walking through the tunnel, he was kind of like asking me questions about his family. So I was answering him the best that I could. Every step that we took, the tunnel got brighter and brighter and brighter until we reached the end. At the end of the tunnel, there was a membrane. And this membrane reminds me of, the embryonic sac that we're born in. It's kind of like clear but clouded, but you can see it partially through it. It looked like the embryonic sac, and so it covered the end of the tunnel, and there's some membrane. And as I looked through the membrane, I could see another world. There's grass, there's trees, there's plants. And the sky was just blue. The clouds were white. Unbelievable. The colors were just clear and crisp. And when we finally reached there and I started looking at the landscape, I saw people coming over towards the membrane, and a long line of people, actually a mass of people, not a line. They were coming over a hill and coming towards the membrane. And as I looked, I recognized a lot of them, and they were my deceased relatives, my grandparents, my aunt, aunties, uncles, great-grandfathers, and some people I recognized through pictures. In the album, I know who they were. And they're all calling me, inviting me to step through the membrane. Come join us. And so I'm standing there, I'm looking at them, and hesitant to move. And then I hear barking dogs, barking dogs. And I look towards the side of my ancestors, and here comes my pets, dogs, pigeons, guinea pigs, rabbits, all of these different pets that I had from the time I was little. And they all ran up to the membrane, and especially the dogs. The dogs were kind of like jumping up on the membrane. And I looked at them and I knew each one of their names, and I started crying. And I dropped down and I was trying to reach through the membrane to pet them. And they were all happy to see me and real eager to be with me. So I was just crying and I felt really overwhelmed. So the combination of having my pets there and my ancestors there and inviting me was really strong pull. And as I was at that point, I felt a love, just a pure love overtake me and say, things are going to be okay, Dave. Things are going to be okay, whatever you decide to do. So I stood up and I decided to push my way through the membrane. And right when I took a step into the membrane, I looked up, and in the back of the crowd, I saw my grandfather, my dad's dad, shaking his head. No, for me, not time for me. And so I looked at him and I says, out of all of the grandfathers, he was the spookiest one, but I respect him a lot, So if he telling me, no, not now, I better listen. So kind of like hesitated. And right when I hesitated, I felt someone reach around behind me and pull me back. And it was my friend pulling me out of the membrane. While he's pulling me out of the membrane, from the opposite side of this tunnel, I could hear my daughter's voice calling, "Daddy, Daddy, where are you?" And so I stepped back and I said, "No, I cannot go. I cannot go." My pets were disappointed, my ancestors were disappointed, but my friend hugged me and he says, "Dave, you made the right choice." And he told me he wished he had made the same decision that I'm making. So it looks like when it was his time to, at the veil, he had the choice of either going or coming back. I chose to come back so I could be with my family. He decided to move on.